All right, everyone. Last looks. Right on set. Roll sound. Sound speed. Roll camera. Camera speed. Scene one. Take one. Market. And action. Hi, I'm Ed, the host of Savannah on Film, and we explore the economic and cultural impact and values of the film industry in Savannah through conversations with people who work in the industry and related fields. You can find us here on WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. Hello, everybody. Hello, the world. Welcome to another fabulous, interesting, awesomely fun episode of Savannah on Film. And I've got a gentleman here today. It's been a long time coming to getting him on the show, but we finally were able to work out things. And this gentleman's name is Kewaan Drayton. Kewaan, I want to welcome you to Savannah on Film, finally.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Ed, for having me. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Just to remind everybody, our purpose here on Savannah on Film is to explore the economic and cultural impact of the film industry in Savannah through conversations with people who work in the industry and related fields. We're here on WRUU 107.5 FM LP, Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. And just a reminder, on Twitter, you can follow WRUU at WRUU 1075. That's WRUU 1075. And I'm going to give you a quick introduction here, and I want to thank everybody who's listening right now on the radio, and everybody who's going to watch this on YouTube on Savannah on Film later, and hopefully catch our premiere after it premieres on WRUU.org and at 107.5 FM on your radio dial in Savannah. So my guest, Kewaan Drayton, he's the CEO of Red Eye Film Production, where in 2012 he joined his brother on the path to creating really high quality, very professional visuals. I must say I've researched some of what Red Eye Film Productions has done. It's been over a year that I've been looking at it, and I was very impressed with the high quality of the work you guys have done. And we're going to talk about several different formats of filming, and there's a myriad of things that Red Eye Film Productions has to offer. And let's see. You guys work on, you have a big staff there, pretty big staff of professionals there.
Yes, sir.
And you've got some award-winning short films, like we're going to talk about Front Burner, which was the local best film, and I'll list all of the things that you won honorable mentions for too, but it pretty much swept the 2019 48-hour film festival in Savannah here. And so Red Eye Film Productions, they do a lot of short films, music videos. We've got a very interesting music video I want to talk about. And you even offer some online courses about directing films. And John Taylor Timmons, which is Kewaan's brother,
Hmm.
he's the president, founder, and artistic director at Red Eye Film Productions. He's a director, a writer, an editor, a Svengali, I guess you would say.
Just about anything you can name, that guy can do it.
Yeah, and in 2009, he had a dream of owning his own freelance and narrative film company, and
Mhm.
that's how Red Eye Film Productions was created. And I really love one of the things that's on your website. There's a wonderful picture of you and your brother on there, and it says crafted in brotherhood, and
Mhm.
I love and not and it's not just it's company but also brotherhood, and so
Yes.
just really cool. So it's good
Mhm.
to see. So I guess there's the I'm trying to think of a brother like production team, maybe the Cohen brothers. I don't know. That's the only people I can think of right now. But
Yeah.
um, so you got a powerhouse over there,
Mhm.
and you've got a lot of things under your belt already, at the ripe old age of I don't know, so
25.
25. So um, and Kewaan is you're basically a producer, executive producer of everything over there.
Pretty much, yes, sir. So, basically, I just operate in the producer, aspect here on a day to day. Um, I mainly operate heavily on the business side, so that way I can give the rest of our team the opportunity to be as creative as they want to be on the film side. But I do play a huge part on the scripts, the
Mhm.
shooting, the editing, all those different things.
Okay. Um, let's just, I mean, we're just going to jump right in and talk about probably one of your biggest. You got a couple of pretty big films here. You mainly do short films, but you do so much more. You guys do stuff we're going to talk about with different clients, and if you haven't checked out their main website at redeyefilmproductions.com, you should. There's a vast array of a lot of things we're going to talk about here. So if you want to
Mhm.
visually see what we're talking about, you'll get to really experience some great things over there. And but your one of your latest big films, it was in the 2019 48 Hours Film Festival that we talked about, and it's called Front Burner. And
Mhm.
first off, let's get to the awards that it won and the honorable mentions. Locally, it won Best Film. It won Best Actor for Patrick J. Saxon, Best
Mhm.
Actress for Madison Ray Abernathy, who Madison works at Red Eye, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
she does.
And it won Best Sound Design. Awesome. I've forgotten the gentleman's name that does your sound design there.
His name is Matthew Cravener. He's actually based in Tallahassee, Florida, but he works very closely with us on a day to day. He's a key member of the team.
Definitely. No one ever appreciates sound as much as they
Oh,
should.
when
It's
you
especially
work when you work in it, I'm telling you, you try watching a film without sound, and you'll have a bigger appreciation for it, most definitely.
right. Um, and you also won for best use of characters. So I didn't actually get to participate in this particular year for
Okay.
2019, but um, I've forgotten the characters. Well, I did, but anyway, you guys won for that was 5 awards right off the bat there. And if people
Yes.
can, when they're watching the video here, they'll see a nice plaque that's got the what do you call them? Laurels? Is
Yes.
that the name?
Yes. As the laurels. Yes.
Yeah, for and you guys have had a lot of your films go to film festivals too, and so
Hmm.
we'll chit chat about that. And honorable mentions on Front Burner are best cinematography, best directing, which is a big award. Well, cinematography is too. Best use of genre, best use of props. So you covered all the bases there. So tell us what Front Burner is all about.
Yeah, so basically, for a lot of people who don't know about the 48-hour film festival, you get 2 days to just rep out a film, when you sign up, you don't really know what genre of film you're going to pull. Luckily, we pulled political drama, and I think it was also like a school film or something like that. But
Mhm.
the whole team was like, I think we can do well if we use political drama. So we did that, and we all just came back to the office, started brainstorming about different things we can do. JT, Madison, and myself, we stayed up. Took us about 3 hours to write the script, and then we started you know getting to it. But what it's about is a conservative politician who basically is having his portrait painted by basically this young liberal student who's been tasked with the job of painting his portrait. And what the senator doesn't know is that she is the sister of a young lady who he it was a bunch of sexual misconduct going on.
Mhm.
He didn't know that, she was the sister of the person until the photo, not the photo, but the portrait was revealed, and it showed the signature of the lady who, painted the picture.
Right.
And he realized the name was Benedetta, which was a name that we had to use in the film because it was
Okay.
part of the criteria. And when that was revealed, he remembered the name. He um he asked her, how much money do you want, because obviously he didn't want that information getting out to the media. She secretly recorded it, and that was basically all the information she needed to get the proof that he wasn't a good senator. um a lot of people took the film a bunch of different ways, thinking that we were trying to be too political, but at the end of the day, it was a political film. And we just
Now,
rode with what we were doing.
one thing that early on when I was in the 48 was sometimes it was too safe, and like the last time I was participated in it, the films got more
Hmm.
courageous, and I like to see they're getting courageous. I mean, film
Oh
is
yeah.
always, film is a reflection of life, and
Hmm.
Lord knows we're in the times. 2020 is a year we will never forget, any of us,
Amen. No.
many reasons. And
Yeah.
it's important to have films that make statements that stick
Hmm.
with people, that resonate, and
Exactly.
tell different sides of narratives, not just what you expect. And what if anybody has not participated in a 48-hour film project? It's a fascinating thing to do. In 48 hours, you're going from step one to completion of an entire film with those, the prop, the genre that you get, which sometimes can be off the wall, can be something that's totally not
Oh
in your
yeah.
house, and that's when it gets really challenging. And then,
Hmm.
of course, the use of the character, and there's like a certain saying that you have to have somewhere in the film, and some people have put it in the title, as bold as that.
Exactly.
But it's whatever works. But you get all those interesting creators together, and in this COVID pandemic world we're living in 2020, much different than a year ago. The whole world has
Exactly.
changed, and no news about if the 48's taking place, how that's going to be done. I know that there was like a mini 48, like from home or something,
Hmm.
on their site, on the site there, but we'll see exactly where the whole industry goes, and we're all trying to figure it out together. But speaking about making films that mean something, I mean, there's a good portion of the content of the short films that Red Eye Film Entertainment production does, that are of the horror kind of thriller element to it. Are
Right.
you
Yeah.
guys naturally kind of drawn to that, or does it just make better cinema?
Um, it's what we try to do is we try to take basically we go off of our team. So we want everyone on our team to be able to have the ability to express themselves the way they want. And we also want them to feel like, that whatever it is that catches their interest, that we can incorporate it into any of our projects, because that's the whole purpose of us working together. So
Mhm.
right now, I love crime movies. So,
Mhm.
we've just been sticking with crime, thriller, horror. JT
Right.
is more of a horror person.
Okay.
So the when we're writing horror, that allows him to be as creative, to be as wild, to be as gory as he wants to be. We're writing crime, it allows me to heavily put my input in. When we're writing thriller, it allows Madison, to throw in what she wants. So, we
Okay.
kind of just go with the team and see what everybody is, what they're into, and we just pretty much roll with it. But
Right.
yes, I would say that those three things are what we're focusing on right now. But you know, we also love documentaries as well. So, you know,
Well, it's interesting to have people with an array of different
mm,
talents and things that maybe they're more drawn to creatively. Because I think other than if everybody thought the same, it would you'd put out the same type of films, and it's a kind of could be cookie cutter, and we don't want that. Always looking for
exactly.
something new and fresh. Another film that was very timely during 2019, and you don't hear much about school shootings or anything, and because nobody's in school right now,
Hmm.
and because of the pandemic that seemed to have shut things
Kind
down.
of died off.
Yeah. um, but we're going to talk about I Will Not Say His Name, and it's a very important film, a very strong film, and I'm going to let you chat about it a little bit. So, what is I Will Not Say His Name about?
So I will not say his name. It's pretty much a fictional story about a shooter who in the film we're actually calling him Shooter because as far as we're concerned, he doesn't have a name. And basically, for the first time in history, he's going to find out that his name will not be mentioned in the news media, just because our opinion as a team, we think that um, the media plays a huge part in, helping these animals, what we call them, perpetrate these criminal acts. Because based on the research that we've done, most of these shooters are committing these crimes just because they
Mhm.
want the notoriety or they want to top the last person who committed the last shooting that had a bunch of different fatalities. So it's a constant battle of trying to top the next person. And if you do the research, you can see that these shooters, um, they idealize other shooters. So in our opinion, we think that if the system put forth an effort to stop mentioning the names, stop glamorizing these people, that we could possibly make some type of change in slowing down the rate in which mass shootings occur. So in the film, we basically follow the shooter and his process and planning of putting together his mass shooting. And we also pay very close attention to the certain things that the system missed in regards to catching this person. So a lot of people don't know, but before, when I was in college, I worked in law enforcement as well. So I was actually working with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement when the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting occurred. And, I learned a lot about the response of the criminal justice system or the law enforcement response to different things like this. So, I was able to step in and put a lot of, my thoughts and a lot of my experiences in this film because, there's a lot of things that get missed in regards to catching shooters or information that is just completely disregarded. That if that information, that key piece of information was actually paid attention to, it could have played a critical part in stopping a mass shooting. So that's basically the point of the film, is just to give our thoughts on the media glamorizing these shooters, and also trying to show people in different ways in which the media misses certain things as well, or law enforcement. So for example, don't want to give away too much, but in the
Right.
film,
You don't give
the
it
shooter goes,
all.
yeah, the shooter goes to a pawn shop to purchase a gun, and the shooter asks a bunch of very suspicious questions. And that's something that happens a lot. People go in, they try to purchase guns, they ask weird questions, and people get these feelings, but they don't report it when really you should. So it's just a bunch of different small things like that, and it kind of just, the goal is to have the viewer just understand it from the perspective of being a person from the outside looking in, because we've done the research, we've looked at multiple different shooters, how they planned, we've looked at their manifestos, different people who they've looked up to, how often they follow the news when these different things occur. And that's just the one big thing that we wanted to address, because it's important. These people want to be on, they want people saying their names in the media, they want to be remembered forever. They want the next person to try to top them, so that the cycle can keep going on and on and on.
And they're silencing the voices of the victims of the
of
lives
course,
they had. So it's
and
only
that's the
fair
most important part.
that they be silenced. So it's a very interesting way of looking at the situation. And I guess maybe I need to say, for anybody listening on the radio, we may hit on some hard topics here, and they're not necessarily the beliefs or thoughts of WREU
Mm-hmm.
or anyone they do business with. So that little disclaimer there. This is our conversation, and we get
Definitely.
real here, and there's nothing wrong with getting real. And I want to kind of piggyback off that. You're a Black man in America,
Yes,
okay?
sir.
And 2020 has not been a good year. I mean, it's for anyone, but especially Black men in America, people of color. What are your thoughts on, maybe in the industry
Mm-hmm.
or just in life in general? What are your thoughts on some of the civil strife that we've gone through, this country is going through? I mean, it's nothing new, but I feel like it's come to a point where people are finally listening. I
Oh,
personally
of
feel.
course.
What are your thoughts on this, if you don't mind?
Yes, like you said, it's just, for me, it's mainly, being able to connect with, different people, people being able to come from a place of understanding, making an effort to understand how, a person of another race may be feeling, or,
Mhm.
different situations that they face on a day-to-day basis, because just me being with my team, we all are very, very inclusive. We don't have any prejudices, any preconceived notions, just because we place a big emphasis on listening to each other in general. And that's kind of what we want to reflect in the business. We kind of want that to be reflected in the world. And as filmmakers, we aren't politicians, we aren't lawyers, we aren't cops, we aren't government workers or anything like that. So we have to be able to use our platform to make these changes or help people understand it. And that's the great thing about being a filmmaker, is
Mhm.
that you don't have to go out and lobby or protest if you don't want to, because your film can be a protest. The
And
script you
it's
write,
a
the way
protest
you act.
that can touch people in many ways, and it can truly show how it is through your eyes, through the filmmaker's
Exactly.
eyes.
Hmm.
I mean, I think of a film like Joker, how big that was, and
Hmm.
what a psychological trip that film was, seeing
Exactly.
this person that was relegated to the outskirts of society, all the infrastructure that was built to help someone, in this case with mental illness, with different struggles that he was going through in his life, and then the system just fails him, one thing after another. All these safety nets that are built in there for people,
Hmm.
um, at least in this film, they failed him, and you see the worst side of it. the worst possible scenario that comes out of it. Now, that's not to diminish at all, 400 years of slavery and you know, just the really tough, situation that we've gone
Hmm.
through as a country and as black men and women in America. Um, it's time that we listen. I think it's time that we listen. People like me, it's time we listen. It's time we learn. You know, I've always been about personally wanting to know different people from totally different angles of life. I think a person grows richer in the diversity of the friends they have, of the
Hmm.
acquaintances they have, of the family they have, and 2020 and beyond is going to look a lot different than it did 400 years leading up to this. I've never been so certain in my life about something like that, and so I I'm excited to be alive in this time where, in the middle of a pandemic, voices are still being heard, and they're being heard by the right people. And we still have a lot, I think, personally, my personal opinion, to work out in this country. But I believe together we can do it. And the greatness is in our diversity, I feel. Um, and so we move on, and film, like you said, is a perfect vehicle to
Hmm.
express those feelings. You have a very diverse group of professionals working there at Red Eye Film Productions, and they all bring those different experiences, and that's great. So yeah, you said your brother Jonathan Taylor Thomas, or JT,
Hmm.
he wrote it and directed it, and it starred Walker Cody, and this is, I will not say his name.
Yes.
And of all the films you've done, do you feel this is one of the most important ones that you guys have done, or what are your thoughts on
Oh, yes. One thing we try to do at Red Eye is the team aims to that our we want every film that we're working on now
it?
in this present state to be better than everything that we've done in the past.
Okay.
Um, and that's kind of our goal for every single project that we work on. And honestly, with I will not say his name, it's right now it just stands as a short film, because we've been using that film to put it out to different festivals so that we can see if the topic is something that people can get behind,
Right.
basically. So it's gotten into 6 different festivals, and basically that tells us everything we need to know, that people are getting behind the message. They're hearing us, and they want to see more, because now we're going to make it into a feature film. It's going to be our
Oh,
first actual feature.
excellent.
And that's the big project, and we start production on that in November of this year. And we've been coordinating. We already have our budget. We've been coordinating with we've collaborated with a very popular band. They're called Dropout Kings. They're based in Phoenix, Arizona, and
Mhm.
they're going to be creating original soundtracks for the film and all
Wow.
those different things. So that's our next big project. But that's kind of what we want to do. Like, me as a businessman, I kind of like to I like to make sure there's a market for it before I'm going all in. And that's kind of what we've been doing. So we've been testing it out. People are hearing us. They like it. Or we've been getting very good reviews. The pandemic kind of slowed us down a little bit on our
Yeah.
festival run, but we've still been getting excellent feedback from it. And you know, all feedback hasn't been good, but that in filmmaking is not supposed to always be good. You know,
It's supposed, it should challenge people
exactly.
some way,
So
even if
so
it's
yes, that's
so-called mindless entertainment.
mhm,
There's a message. Every
yeah.
film, I think, has a message, even if it's the big tentpole movie of the summer.
Hmm.
Have you thought about how you're going to address the possible concerns with COVID? And have y'all taken that into consideration yet? We know
And
Hollywood's slow to opening up, you know, and they're trying to do it the right way. And we've talked
Mhm.
about like small productions versus, you know, big studio productions, you know, with millions
Mhm.
of dollars behind them. They can afford all these extra things. As a smaller company, um, how are you approaching? How has COVID affected the business? And
Yeah.
because it shut everything down, basically, you know, we're
Yeah.
still kind of at a standstill in a way, but
I mean, so kind of like it's affected us, I mean, quite a bit. But the good thing is that, like, you know, a lot of bigger productions now have to go down to being smaller, having smaller sets.
right,
But the good thing about us is we've always been smaller sets.
right. That's
So
yeah,
it's like, you know, it's like we've always had, like, you know, a team of, you know, less than 10 people, you know, cast, crew, all of that.
right.
So, you know, it's not going to be hard for us to, you know, spread people out a little bit more. You know, I mean, we can still get the job done well. Only thing that I think I want to make sure is that, you know, everybody's staying sanitized, everybody's feeling okay. And you know, that's just one thing that I want to pay closer attention to. You know, equipment that, you know, passes hands frequently is constantly being sanitized. I mean, that's something. Obviously, you know, we make sure our stuff is clean, but it's like now in this current state, you have to be a lot more aggressive with it. And
You
you
definitely
know,
need to be, yeah, I know that. So we're going to take a few breaks here, and then we're going to be back with the fantastic Kewaan Drayton of Red Eye Film Productions here on Savannah on Film. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Disasters don't stop even during a pandemic. The Red Cross is here to help when disasters strike. They respond to a disaster every 8 minutes. They help people to prepare for disasters, and they help prevent disasters such as home fires. The Red Cross saves lives by providing blood. And now, free COVID-19 antibody testing is available when donating blood with the Red Cross. More information about Red Cross services and donating blood can be found at www.redcross.org. This is a message from the Georgia State Department of Public Health. Social distancing means minimizing contact with people. It also means that if you are near someone in public, try to stay at least 6 feet away. The less contact people have with one another means the less opportunity for the virus to spread. Slowing the spread of the virus means that we can keep our healthcare system from becoming overwhelmed. More information can be found at dph.georgia.gov.
WRUU brings you the most diverse and passionate local radio programming on the air in Savannah. This all-volunteer and nonprofit community radio station accepts no money from any form of government. Our diversity and independence is made possible only through the generous financial support of listeners like you. We rely on your annual and ongoing monthly contributions to cover the many costs associated with bringing you our broadcast and web programming. If you are a contributor, thank you. If you're not yet a contributor, please show your appreciation of the role WRUU plays in your life by becoming a contributor in any amount. You can donate quickly and easily by credit card or check. Just find the donate and subscribe links at wruu.org. Thanks for listening to and supporting WRUU.
This is WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul.
And we are back here on Savannah on Film. I'm your host, Ed Ciucevich. We're here on the fantabulous WRUU 107.5 FMLP community radio with global soul. We're here in Savannah. You're hearing us worldwide. Hopefully you're going to be watching us on the live this Saturday at 8 p.m. Kewaan's going to come back and we're going to be on the live chat and we're going to be watching the premiere of this whole video. And right now you're listening to it on the radio on 107.5 FM in Savannah or WRUU.org anywhere in the entire world. And Kewaan Drayton, he is the CEO of Red Eye Film Productions, and you guys are based out of Savannah here, correct?
yes, sir. Based. We started up here in Savannah a real long time ago in 2009.
So what was the genesis of it? What was the what was obviously your brother? He started it in
Mm-hmm.
2009, and
Mm-hmm.
you came on board in 2012 to be like the CEO of
Yes.
things, and so do you ever look back and say, wow, how far we've come? Do you ever kind of look back and say, wow, we were just, we
Yes,
were so
it scares us all the time because, like, if you think about it, like 2009 was so long ago.
it's,
And,
it's like, yeah,
we look back, it's like, what were we even doing? And the hardest part about it is when you go back and you look at those projects that you did back then and you're just like, oh, we were so bad.
right. You're like, but sometimes I can look back at stuff I've done, and most
Mhm.
times I wince, but I can look and I can say, I can find one little speck of something like, oh, I used to do that a certain way or something. Maybe I'll try that again. But now the technology has
Is exactly. Mhm.
so the technology can hinder, but it mostly helps, I think. And
Exactly.
it's allowing us
Yes.
to do this. And so, yeah, it's interesting to see that growth, do you ever think you'll be one of those filmmakers that goes back and tries to improve your films with, new eyes every year? It's like, oh, maybe I should go back
Uh,
and tweak that and do a director's cut, or, you know,
you know,
what if,
I mean, one thing we always want to do is kind of like, we don't like going back and looking at the old things, but like every now and then we have people who are like researching the company. They'll go back and say, hey man, we went down like, 10 years on your YouTube and we saw this video. And I'm like, why did you do
yeah, don't judge us by our social media presence,
that?
please. Or
Yeah.
whatever, don't judge us by 10 years ago. We've grown.
Hmm.
And for me, that's what it shows, it shows growth. I
Yeah,
mean, everybody's got to start somewhere. And,
exactly.
and you guys, started as just YouTube brothers, right?
Hmm. Yes.
And then you were able to add people on, in
Hmm.
different roles, like Madison, and I'm trying to think of some of the other people on your team.
Yeah, no, we have a Kristen who's a casting director. We also have Sydney, who's one of our lead producers. We have Brianna, who's a script supervisor. We have Walker Cody, who's he's just a key talent here. We have Kevin Holloway Harris, who's another producer.
Hmm.
Sydney, who's set design. We have quite a few people, and
You guys
couple
are
are employed,
yeah.
and most of them, like a good bit of them, are interns as well. But it's always good to be able to have them come on and help us out, and they all put in a substantial amount of work, and it shows in our films, and we greatly appreciate them for that. So we're just thankful to have a team, seriously, because a lot of people don't have access to the people, the quality of
Or
people
it's
that we
hard
have.
to keep the people on the team because life
Exactly.
happens, and
Hmm.
move on, or maybe you come out of the same school, the same college, or whatever, and then you all gel for a while, and then somebody goes somewhere else, and someone goes somewhere else, and before you know it,
Hmm.
the band's broken up, and
Yeah.
that is
And
hard to get
we
creative people
yeah,
together and keep them together.
definitely. That's why you have to treat people right in filmmaking, because if you don't, there's always other people out there that are putting projects together, that are willing to pay more money, willing to put them on more projects. So everyone who's willing to help us out, we're willing to treat them well, and do our best to get them what they need to show that they're putting in a good amount of work as well. So
And you
we do.
and you definitely, Kewaan, and your brother John, you guys are definitely entrepreneurs. You're making a way. There was a vision that John had, and
Hmm.
you came aboard to help him with that vision, and you guys are driving that vision, and you're taking it definitely next level. And I have a lot of people on this show, and on Savannah on Film, and I have a lot of people that I look at their production value of things, and I never want to compare someone against someone else, because I always see that everybody has a different skill set, and everybody's on a different journey. They're and they're at different levels. Um, though some of your stuff isn't in my wheelhouse of, I don't like much like horror and gore. I mean, I'm more
Mm-hmm.
suspense kind of guy, and you do have some of that thriller suspense going on. Some of the stuff that's a little bit more gory turns me off personally. That's just
Mm-hmm.
me. But I will say the quality of it is very top notch. I was, from a long time ago, I was very much impressed um, with the high quality of the cinematography, the just the overall everything of the films that the shorts that you guys have done.
Mm-hmm.
And it is interesting to see the different directions you guys have gone. And you've done a music video, you've done you do stuff for I hate to say the word stuff, there's a better word than stuff, but you do projects for like creative advertising. So if
Yes.
someone comes to you and they need a commercial done, essentially, you, is that's what we're talking about?
Yes.
Like, break that down for us. I mean,
So basically, Red Eye runs on basically a two-part system. So we are 50%, creative, which is narrative filmmaking,
mhm,
360 things like that, and we also are, creative advertising. So taking our experience from creating narrative films and carrying that over into helping different businesses tell the stories of their brands,
right,
to help them promote their products and establish unique identities within their market. So, whether that person or that business is, real estate, or, if it is cybersecurity, whatever it may be, people come to us to help them tell their stories through video.
right.
And it's kind of what we do. So
You're
we
just
tell people
taking
all
the
the
movie
time.
format and really shrinking it down to, a 3-minute
Hmm.
clip, a 1-minute clip, or whatever, and you gotta
However,
get those
pretty
plot
much,
points in there. The
yeah,
tips.
whatever the customer wants. Hmm.
Yeah, and every customer is different, aren't they? I mean,
Oh
there's a
man.
basic template of how it probably goes, but I'm sure everybody's got, well, I want it this way, or I want this certain thing,
Hmm.
and I'm sure that's where the creative juices get flowing. You're like, well, what if we did this, or I don't know, we could do a drone shot of that, or we could do, I don't know, whatever. I'm not a cinematographer, so I can't.
Yeah.
But
No, the,
I
the
think of
main thing,
sounds. But
of course, the main thing that we notice working with specific clients is that most clients, some have a vision, a very clear vision, and they're really good at communicating that vision. But there's a large amount of customers who will come to us and they have absolutely no vision, and that's okay because that's why they're coming to us.
right,
So what we notice, a common trend is that they come to us, they say, hey, we don't know what we want, but we want to try something. So we're like, okay, we'll come up with a script where we'll shoot it, and we'll see, how it turns out. And usually, the first cut, um, they kind of like it. They love the quality, but now they're starting to think about, different things that they'll actually like to see now, which is good.
mhm,
So that first cut, we don't necessarily obviously, we go hard at everything we do, but the whole point of that first clip is to give them something and for them to say, okay, this is what I want you to change. This is what I want now. This will look better. I think this will be better at the end. And usually that's how we want the process to be, because, people start to develop their vision at different times. And obviously, in filmmaking, directors, producers, actors change different things all the time. For example, if you write a line in a film and the director might have written it one way, but the actor says it another way, and it's like, okay, that's not how I wrote it, but I like that, so we're gonna keep it.
that's a good take.
And exactly. So it's kind of the same way with working with customers and different businesses. It just, now the customers is like the person running the show. They're the directors now, and we're just the camera guys, the production
Yeah.
team.
I like how you put the process on your website there. It says the process is one, consultation; two,
Hmm.
film; three, cut it till you love it. It's just awesome. and forward to live it via Google Drive or whatever means.
Pretty much.
So, yeah, that's kind of what you got to do. You got to have a process, and I mean, you've done stuff for Firestorm Security, Savannah
Mhm.
Glamour, 912 Homeworks, and many others. So
Yes.
you guys have got several projects in that division of your company, um,
Mhm.
that you've taken care of, that you've been able to service. Now your brother, John Taylor Timmons, or JT as you call him, he is doing a film director's class. It's at John Taylor's filmschool.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And so that's something else that your company offers. And can you tell me a little bit about the like the film director's class, what it entails, what does it
Yes.
cost, what level of expertise do you have to have, et cetera.
Mhm. So literally the course, we started thinking about this a while back once we started to see how the pandemic was going to start affecting, you know, different people. And we've also just been getting a lot of requests for people who aren't necessarily professional filmmakers, but they want to operate more on an independent level, whether it's just get putting short films on YouTube and stuff like that, but they absolutely have, no experience. So what we wanted to do was we kind of wanted to um, let these students kind of start from ground zero, from literally learning the basic functions of a camera,
Mhm.
all the way on to creating a short film that they can be proud of and be glad to show people. So that's kind of what we did with the course. We start with basic courses that teaches you how to work your settings on a camera, all the way to working with talent and blocking and casting and things of that nature.
Mhm.
So and like I said, it's from a very independent filmmaking perspective. So it's not complex at all.
It's not the
Um,
somebody method, not the Spielberg method or something. It's
oh
like
no, not at all.
it's it's what you guys have
Mm,
learned and what works for you, and what's valuable, and it's
exactly.
a form of mentoring. Also, it's not just a business
Yes.
part,
Hmm.
but and that's a wonderful thing. I don't think we get enough of that in the industry. I don't think there's enough people
Hmm.
that look back and hand back to others and say, here, I'm going to give you a chance to give a skill. If you teach a man a skill, he or a person a skill, they can thrive in that, with that new skill. But if and so it's part of mentoring, and it's part of it's a good business model too.
Hmm.
To give that knowledge to someone who wants to make it in the industry, and so they can go to uh John Taylor's, that's with an S,
Hmm.
filmschool.com. And it is there, and all the information they need, price and everything else, and everything is there at that address, correct?
Yes, it is. We're keeping it relatively low priced at
Right.
$100 right now. We're revamping it a lot right now just to add more courses and stuff.
Okay.
So, people who are going to be signing up within the next few months are going to have an extreme amount of content to choose from, things like that. So it's kind of going to be one of those things where we're going to constantly be uploading videos and tutorials so that people can learn more as we learn more. Teach people how to use certain pieces of equipment that we use, how to get certain shots on a budget,
Hmm.
all those different things. So,
How to
it's
work with
very, very,
vendors if you're a director,
exactly,
you know.
exactly, all those different things, man. And, people need to know that information if they want to, you know, be a filmmaker, especially on an independent level. So,
So if a client's coming to you, what makes Red Eye Film Productions different than all the other production companies that might be out there?
mhm, without a doubt, we have a fast turnaround time. JT, man, he can edit, like crazy. So, and he's passionate about it. So, when JT is filming a project, he's already seeing how he's going to edit it in his mind. So, you know, he's already deleting the footage he doesn't want. He's already cutting it in his head. So when he gets in front of the computer, all he's doing is literally placing it where he wants it. So, you know, we can start filming a project for you, you know, on Monday, and you can have your first cut, you know, probably Tuesday.
Wow, that's an incredible
And
turnaround time.
without it, definitely we don't hold any projects longer than a week for customers, you know, because customers are eager to get their project, you know, and then with video not being an actual tangible item, you know, we know that customers crave to see, you know, what they're getting, what it is they're paying for, how, you know, everything is, you know, transitioning and being translated if the message is being put across. So we want to get that back to the customer as fast as possible. And like we tell them, you know, we're getting this to you fast, but we also want to encourage a great relationship with our customers in the sense that, you know, if you don't feel something was, you know, cut the right way, you know, tell us that, you know, because we don't mind. It's very rare that we have to reshoot things, but, you know, if you want something reshot just because you didn't look a certain way, you know, that's fine. We'll come back and do it for you. You asked us to do it like 5 or 6 times, then it was like, you know, all right, you know, I don't think you're going to be able to change that.
Another aspect of your business is music videos, and we really have to be careful about this one because this video is a little bit graphic on maybe the gory side. Very awesome song. It's Tanner Hamilton, Redheaded Stepchild, the official music video, and y'all did that I think about a year ago. Is that correct?
Yes, almost about a year ago.
About a year ago. How'd you get hooked up with Tanner? And like, what was the vision behind it?
So Tanner is a popular musician here in town, and he, you know, experiments with different types of music. You know, he's a drummer, guitarist, all those different things. But most of all, he's the fiance of one of our casting directors here. So, you know, it's very close, we're very close with him. And, you know, what we'll do at Red Eye sometimes is if we come across different local artists who needs more of a platform, who we know that they make really good music and we think like a music video can help them, you know, push them to that next level, you know, we'll work out an agreement with them where, you know, we'll help them get you know, some content. And with Tanner, you know, we've been following him for quite a while. So, and we love his music. And, you know, obviously you see that we love some of the gory stuff too. And we like to, so with Tanner's song, we basically, you know, definitely.
You know, that it's just a little, some of it's a little graphic, but, you know,
of course. Yeah.
That's popular. You know, there's a lot.
It is popular. And it's like, you know, we basically just wanted to kind of tell somewhat of a story within the music and the music video, because we want to have the opportunity to, you know, create him an awesome video, but we also want to be able to have creative control and, you know, send out a good message while creating, you know, these really cool visuals from different perspectives, and also leaving some interpretation up to the viewers. So that's kind of
it's definitely good to leave a, you know, don't answer all the questions. That's like
exactly
making, you know, you always leave them wanting more and asking questions. Well, we've got for the radio portion of this, we're coming almost to the close of this, but we're going to continue on the radio. So, I mean, on YouTube, on Savannah on Film. So, I just want to ask you just a few things. We're going to talk about, I'm going to have to save this for the bonus content on YouTube, but 360-degree films, we're going to talk about that and the whole process of that. So you're going to want to tune in for that, definitely. What advice could you give real quick for people coming up in the industry? What would you say to them? Someone that's maybe listening right now, this is, you know, they're thinking of getting in the film industry. What would you say to them?
The best advice that I would give right now is to place a big emphasis on starting a team. Try to find like-minded people like yourself, and try to, you know, connect with those people so that way, you know, you can start to form a team that can help you tell the stories that you want to tell, or build the business or the brand that you want to build as fast as possible. Because in filmmaking, a lot of people, you see a lot of single man teams. Like I've seen people run production companies with just themselves, and you know they literally
Freeze,
are,
right,
you know,
direct. Yeah, that's hard.
exactly, they're busting it every single day, but they don't have to do that.
It's
If
like
you
it's like
spend some
I put this show together completely. I do it all myself. Everything
exactly.
that's been on film is me.
Hmm.
But I love it. It's it's something I love
Exactly.
to do, and it is hard work. And sometimes trying to delegate that time, and when you're going to get something accomplished and
Hmm.
meeting those deadlines, so far so good. But it's
Yeah,
it's hard to focus
exactly.
sometimes, and it's hard when it's all on one person, and
Hmm.
but you do what you got to do,
Yeah.
and okay, where do you see yourself, the industry, Red Eye Film Productions in 5 to 10 years?
In 5 to 10 years, we plan to have at least 2 or 3 feature films out. Savannah is growing in the film business, so we're hoping
Mhm.
that that energy continues to progress. If it doesn't, then we'll have to explore a few different cities possibly. But we wanna make a statement here in Savannah, and this is home to both of us. So
And we're
we love
connected.
to.
We're connected. The internet, we're so connected. So I mean,
Exactly.
you could be part of that groundswell of local entertainment that we really that's one of the things I like to focus on in this show, is really spotlighting Savannah individuals that are really the up and coming. I want this to be a hub for
Yeah.
filmmaking, for creatives, and
Yeah.
it is, and I want the world to know that it is. It's not just
Okay.
productions coming here. There are production companies here, there
Companies
are
here.
entrepreneurs here, there are filmmakers in all different levels and in all different departments that are bringing their A game, and they can run with some of the best of them. So
Yeah.
with that, I want to say, if you want to get a hold of Kewaan Drayton, you can find him. Where's my notes here? It's at I'm just went blank.
Okay.
Red Eye Film Productions .com, correct? That's the main
Yes.
website, and
Hmm.
you can go there and you'll be able to find out anything. So we want to say goodbye to everybody on WRU on the radio right now, 107.5, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Savannah on Film. And for all you that are going to be watching, come on over to YouTube and join in the chat after you watch this. I'm projecting in the future when all this is going to happen, which is so.
Hmm.
Anyway, we'll see you online, Savannah on Film on YouTube. Thank you, Kewaan Drayton, finally for being here. Fantastic, and we've got more to talk about on YouTube. So, well, I guess we'll bring it to an end. And this is Ed Ciucevich, Savannah on Film, and thanks for listening. You have been listening to another episode of Savannah on Film, where we give a voice to the Savannah film community. Please like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter. This program was originally broadcast on 107.5 FM in Savannah, Georgia, and worldwide on www.wruu.org. Join us next time for more intriguing insights into the vibrant Savannah film community here at Savannah on Film. I'm sorry, I can turn my volume back up there. Okay, we are back here on Savannah on Film, and we just left the radio. We're live on the video here. I've got a fantastic gentleman here with me, a great professional, Kewaan Drayton. He's the CEO of Red Eye Film Productions, based out of Savannah, and they're not just Savannah; they're global. They're putting in the hard work. He's got a great, wonderful team over there. along with his brother JT, that is a John Taylor Timmons. I don't want to. I want to say Thomas. I don't know why. John
It's one
Taylor
of those names.
Timmons. uh, or, and he was the original creator of Red Eye Film Productions, and Kewaan came on in 2012, and is helping out there, doing his best as a CEO of the company. And we were talking about a lot of things, and here's our bonus content, so we can talk for a little bit longer and maybe some greater detail on some things we didn't get to. One of the things that checking out what you guys do, we talked about music videos, but I guess let me finish up real quick with that. Can we expect to see some more music videos from Red Eye in the future?
Definitely, yes. We love music videos. Music videos allow us to be experiment with new technology, new camera work, new equipment, all those different things. So music videos are kind of allows us to freestyle a little bit, and it's very accepted. So more music videos to come.
I grew up in the time of when music videos were, when MTV was actually a thing, and I don't even know if it's still around or whatever, or even relevant, but, music videos were everything. And then they went away, and I missed them because, I liked the production quality of artists like Michael Jackson would bring to what he would do. I mean, he took it to another level, and there's a lot of other artists that did stuff like that across the musical spectrum. I've missed like really good videos that are almost like mini movies, and maybe that's one of the things that got me interested. I was always interested in film, but they became like mini films to me. And
of course,
and you got to tell a story, and you certainly have a shorter amount of time to do that. What type of well, let me ask you this. Well, you'll of course take any type of that you're interested in. You said that basically any video or artist that either comes to you or that you guys at Red Eye take a special liking, where you can see a vision for what you can do for them. And I know they're different. This is an obvious question, but how is filming music videos different than filmmaking?
With music videos, you don't necessarily need a script, honestly. Like, if you look at some of the music videos that are happening nowadays, a lot of them are literally just get the camera and we'll just see what happens, man.
Just hit record and just start.
Yeah. But the thing is, you don't want to necessarily structure music, like obviously just for the sake and for the respect for the film and for the industry and for the artist, you want to have some form of a something to go off. But like you also want to let the artist know, and the artists are usually in agreement with this, in the sense that we're kind of just going to see where this goes, because if we write something and go by this structured script or format, but your energy doesn't match what we wrote,
right,
it kind of throws things off. So
if they're going for like a smoky club vibe with the neon lights in there, their music is like thrash metal or something.
Exactly.
It could be interesting, by the way. I don't know, but
you literally never know.
Together. But sometimes you can find what you have to find what fits them. It's like if you go in and get like fitted for a suit or something, you want something that's going to fit you and something that doesn't look odd on you, unless that's what you're going for.
Exactly.
But,
and that's the fun thing about it, is that you can kind of just, with music videos, literally, like I say, that's when the team has fun, because it's like we have the opportunity to just talk to the and then people who do music, they're pretty like very relaxed too. They're like, hey man, like whatever, like let's just try something, see where it goes.
Do you find a lot of them already kind of have a vision? Obviously there's a song that kind of tells a story, but they come in with a bit of a vision, and I'm sure you can knock their socks off, so to speak, you know, because you can probably come in, well, we can hit it this different angle. We can do this. Let's do
Mm-hmm.
a verse on this, or, you know, or
Yeah.
whatever. And, you know, and you have a general outline of what you're going to do, but yeah, sometimes maybe it's just a straight up performance video, you know, but maybe a different way of recording, you know, or making a performance video, you know, intercutting different things. And
Exactly.
yeah,
It's all in the cutting, man, honestly, with the music videos. You know, obviously, you know, because like you said, like a lot of the artists, they were inspired by something to encourage them to write the song.
right.
So we want to make sure we like I said, like we respect that, and that we make sure that we communicate what it is that, you know, they were feeling when they wrote the song into the music video, because that's important. So, you know, it just all depends. And usually most of our customers with music videos are usually very, very surprised, because the vision that they have in their mind is kind of like, it's like one shot. But
Mhm.
when you show them that the finished product from different perspectives, different, you know, from different shot angles, then it kind of is a little bit more real to them. They start to, you know, love it a lot more. And
And I never
it's just a
thought of
lot more
that.
fun.
That's really cool angle there. That's, you know,
Hmm.
and how they look, you know, how they perceive, how the artist perceives themselves, you know, may
Hmm.
be totally different than how you show them, but you may bring out something in them. It's like in photography, you know, you can capture those moments in time. It's like it literally is like freezing time,
Hmm.
and you can get, you know, from a smile or lack of a smile or a grin or whatever, you can get a different photograph or a different vision of that artist that maybe you wouldn't see. Like maybe there's an artist that's, you know, their music's way over the top, but then maybe there's one part of the song where you can capture a still or something of that effect, or a montage where it shows, you know, a more serious side, or, you know, it you
Hmm.
have total freedom. It's like a sandbox, like you said, I guess. um
It's very fun, man. Like, it's honestly, it's like more therapeutic for us. You know, it's
it's like
like,
let loose
yes, we
time.
don't have a script to stick by. We're just gonna try some new stuff.
Yeah, and let's put this in there, and then this may end up in a film. This technique that we learn here or teach
Hmm.
ourselves. Or,
You know, and it also
yeah.
allows us to give, like, you know, opportunities for our other, like, you know, interns and stuff who are like cam ops and stuff. You know, we've seen them get better shots than us at times just practicing.
Where you're like,
And it's like,
yeah,
I'm like, JT didn't shoot that, but it looks better than the shot he got, so we're gonna use it.
yeah.
But you know,
Use it next time. I'll try that technique. You know, everybody borrows a little bit. You know, it's like
hmm
sampling, right?
then you don't have sound. Like, you don't have to pay close attention to, like, you know, the mics. Obviously, you want to make sure that you know, that the artist is, you know, saying his lines properly so that it matches in post production.
Right.
But you know, it's not like you have to pay close attention to, you know, your boom and all those different things. So, you know, you kind of just literally just go.
You just got the playback and
Hmm.
gotta deal with that way. Um, 360-degree films. You've got a
Hmm.
couple or so on there. Very interesting what
Yes.
you've done there. Excuse me. Um, so what tell us about that kind of groundbreaking work that Red Eye's doing with 360-degree films.
Yeah, well, we've kind of slowed down a little bit on it, because 360 is kind of still a developing technology that's kind of currently getting better and better and better as we speak. So you know, what we're trying to do is, basically, we are always trying to kind of stay innovative with our ideas and things of that nature. So it's like, you know, 360, it allows more of an experiment for the viewer,
Mhm.
more of an experience for the viewer. So that's what we're kind of trying to do, is promote more of an interactive experience where, you know, customers can, not customers, but viewers can, you know, see more what's going on, and allows them to be more involved in the film.
And
You know,
it's tied into VR, or would that be the same,
it,
or would that be a kind of
yeah, it
complementary
is
to each other?
VR, kind of virtual reality a sense. So yeah, it's just like you said, it's just more of an experience. And it was a challenge for us. That's what it was from the get-go. It was more of a challenge to help us collaborate with the team, see what kind of stories we can tell with, you know, this new 360 experience, because you never know when it's going to be like the next big thing, or when a lot of other people are going to start doing it. So you kind of want to, you know, start getting your feet wet, testing the water, so that way, you know, when it does become, you know, bigger, you aren't kind of lagging behind. You know, you from that point on, you can just start figuring out how you want to advance, or what new things you want to do. So
Takes special camera to do that, correct?
oh, definitely, yes.
And I'm sure they're not cheap.
Oh no, and they had those
Yeah.
360 cameras can be pretty pricey, and you also have to know how to just operate it, because you know spending a bunch of money on a camera you can't operate is a bad investment. So
Yeah,
you know, you want to make sure that you actually like honestly, we've had to send one of our 360 cameras back, just because, you know, the technology wasn't keeping up with, you know, the systems that we were using. You know, it was just a little bit you
wow.
know, super advanced. And you know, it was kind of slowing things down. So, you know, we kind of got a smaller camera and started doing more films with that
You
one.
can maybe simulate it a little bit. I mean, it's not the same, but you know, editing can
Yeah,
do miracles, but it's not exactly the same as the true
exactly.
360 experience.
Hmm.
So what are some of the, because I'm a gadget guy, I would love to get my hands on something like that, and just to play around with it and figure out, well, what can I do? I can do this. And are there any ideas what y'all might be doing in the future with that, or just still testing the waters? Kind of.
We're kind of still testing the waters, but we do eventually want to start. One thing that I've noticed is it's really cool for athletic videos. So, you know, athletic highlight tapes and stuff like that. You know, it can actually redefine the way, you know, coaches view film. So right now, you know, when coaches are looking at film of a football game, basketball game, you just have one camera from one angle, you know, at in the back somewhere. But now, you know, with 360 technology, you can just pop that thing up somewhere, and coaches can literally dive in and see, like, you know, what player took that play off, or you
Very
know, they can actually.
interesting.
So yeah, I mean, it's, you know, and that's kind of how I see it. That's just me looking at it from, you know, the advertisement side, and versus the actual narrative filmmaking side. But you know, the technology it just completely changes everything. You know, the first one we used was the Insta 360, and that one was a very advanced camera. You know, super high quality, and you know, that's when we were just first testing it out, and we saw it completely changed the way, you know, we work with talent, you know, and sound, because literally when you're working with 360 cameras, you can't have your sound guy in the back. Like, everybody has to
Right.
get out the scene, get out the shot.
Completely out of the shot. And if you
Yes.
do kind of an overhead 360, because I've seen those done too, you know.
Well, you wear a helmet.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. That's all
You wear a helmet.
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a
Yeah.
camera guy. I'm not a cinematographer.
No, I
I
understand
want
that.
to
I'm just
be.
saying it's a very, very weird experience. So it's like, you know, the person who's shooting the film, or the cinematographer in this sense, will literally be wearing something that looks like a bicycle helmet with
Don't
a 360 camera attached to the top.
they kind of become the entire film crew and the actor in a way, you know?
Yep.
And it's
That's it.
it's probably, I would imagine, some choreography built into that. You know, okay, I've got to go this
Definitely.
way, I got to go this way, I got to walk into this room, or, you know, you know, what could be interesting is to see, you know, maybe with several of them, to see the 360, like, let's say in a football game, you know, like you were talking about in that scenario. So you can see like the quarterback throwing the pass, and then you
Hmm.
know, you can pan around and see the receiver catching the ball or something, or not catching the ball, or what somebody did
Hmm.
or blocked it, or, you know, I could see where in sports that could be, you know, fantastic, you know,
Oh yeah.
idea. It's And when you get into, now I know eventually when we get into like 5G, and we're really into 5G, not this 5G they claim is 5G, that's really upper band at best. And when we really get into that, and we get into like virtual reality, like true virtual reality, how is that gonna change filmmaking? Do you think it's going to be a radical change, or is it too soon to determine? Or what are your thoughts?
It's happening.
It's
I think it's happening, man. It's definitely happening. Like, if it wasn't happening, people wouldn't be all hyped up about VR. And, people are hyped about it now. So just imagine 20 years from now.
But I know we went through the whole 3D thing. Remember, every film came out in 3D for a while. I mean, that was something that was in the 50s, and then it went away and it came back, and then and then there were 3D televisions for like a couple of years there. Everything was, and I wanted one desperately and never got one. But then that's kind of gone away. And but I know VR is going to be next level, because you're going to feel like you're in that scenario. You're one of those players. You're maybe that person catching the ball, and I mean, or throwing the quarterback, or and we're entering an era of, when we get into more VR and we get into more 5G and different things, that we're entering an era of deep fakes. I've seen some videos online where people have convincingly they've put literal actors in. I think Collider did a video where they had like Tom Cruise with George Lucas and like all these people you'd never have on a panel probably, and they were just all talking, and they had actors, and they did the deep fake. And if you didn't know any better, I mean, you can tell. It's still where you can tell with the technology, but I've seen some convincing things out there where, just a little bit more technology, and I mean, you can totally fake stuff. And I think about, with COVID-19, how it's a thing in the film industry. People worry about background actors, if there's going to be any background actors, for social distancing purposes and all that, until we get a vaccine for this terrible pandemic. But digitally already, with CGI, you can go in there and put a crowd in the football field. You're not going to have 10,000 people, or you won't need these people in a restaurant. You can digitally insert them. That worries me too, because, I like a lot of science fiction films, and you can tell when the CGI gets to be too much, that it interferes with the film. And there's been a push on at least some of the bigger films, to go back to more practical effects, which brings the realism back. But I wonder, in this age of COVID, if filmmakers, it's going to cost more money, but would it be more cost effective to do stuff more digital, to do, and once we get into like virtual reality, I don't even think my mind can go that far about where you could go with stuff. You would need the actors. The actors would never have to be on set. They would, there wouldn't have to be a set, essentially. The set might be the office, the big supercomputer or whatever. I don't know. I mean, so
I think that's the thing. Like, you just never know, like, how you're going to adjust, like how you're going to have to adjust, honestly. Like, especially now, there's just, everything is kind of just up in the air, because, like you said, you don't really know where things stand with background actors, or even, if there are going to be restrictions on, cast and crew. So, I mean, but I can guarantee you there's somebody out there that's coming up with the solution for it right now.
I really think that's where, I mean, this is people are down and out about this time in history, but this is the time when entrepreneurs rise to the occasion. And,
exactly.
We soon we'll have global internet. Elon Musk is putting satellites up, almost every week. You think of, I'm much of a futurist in that sense, that I'm fascinated by the technology. Technology is never a bad thing. It's how we use it,
Exactly.
if it's used for good purposes that benefit others, that entertain others, and then that's good. But when it's used for, if somebody does a deep fake to demonize someone or, destroy them on social media or whatever, that's obviously wrong. And
Yeah,
I'd say borderline criminal, but um,
definitely.
so I'm fascinated where it will take us. And of course,
Yeah.
I guess it won't matter too much because we'll have the AI take over anyway, Skynet, and it'll
It
decide.
is, man. Especially now with like schools like being out. If you think about it, man, like when
Right.
we're talking about the 360 cameras, like, if you pop a 360 camera up inside of a classroom and every student has like, the Oculus, the I forgot the face things, I don't know what they call them, but
Oculus
people,
Rift or-
yeah,
yeah.
people can go to class with those things and still have a real life experience.
But that's you kind of touch on a point there that I've thought of. Yeah, that's an issue with access to technology, because I don't know, like what Elon Musk is trying to do is put all these satellites up and basically put a internet net around the world and bring internet to mainly to parts of the world that don't even have access to it. It's
Hmm.
kind of unfathomable to think, and no government can really control it per se. You can't,
Yeah.
like some countries can block the internet and can control it. I don't think it's meant to be blocked. It's an information superhighway, but access to technology, like people behind, that are disenfranchised or not brought up to the technical specs of what it might take. So let's say, you've got a student, and this is happening now, with remote learning. There are some students that honestly, with the pandemic and even maybe before the pandemic, can afford high speed internet, the family, or they don't have maybe a computer that can handle the internet that a Zoom call of I don't know, 50 or 100 students on there, or however many is in a class these days. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I know I saw this in some of the groups that I'm in, and there was a talk with like SCAD when they were going to have, when school started getting called off, and some of the students were saying, hey, we paid for this experience to be on set, to be on film, we're creative, we'll be safe, we'll do this. And SCAD rightfully did the right thing in being safe, and saying, well, you can't hold classes, you can't do your student film or whatever. And I know that puts creatives, and I'm not picking on SCAD, it's not picking on anybody, it just, talking about the situation. But I've seen people say, well, what do I do? And this happens more than SCAD, this happens at other institutions more than just, film schools and other things. So,
Hmm.
um, don't misinterpret me on that, but what I'm saying is, people that don't have access to that, like if you're a filmmaker and you're taking a film class, it's kind of hard to learn how to use the camera without actually putting your hands on the camera, if you've never been able to actually physically put your hands on a camera. Because some people, if you're like me, you can show me and yeah, I'll get it, but nothing for me is, I'm more of a tactile learner myself. So
Hmm.
let me get my hands on it, and do the adjustments or whatever, or the
Exactly.
focal lens or whatever it's called, and all that good stuff. There's a difference in dealing with sound equipment, than, watching YouTube videos all day, or then versus having your own equipment or equipment you have access to that you know how to use. It's like having the camera you said you guys had to send back because the camera wasn't up to snuff. It wasn't, it
Hmm.
wasn't as user friendly or worked with the infrastructure that you had. So,
Exactly.
what do we do in situations like that where technology is in the future? I think it's very quickly becoming, um, it should be a bridge for everyone, but I feel like it's a wall sometimes to some parts of society, some parts of the world. In fact, you know, um, you know, we all, I think, should have equal access, that we should be able to, connect. That's the whole idea of the internet. And, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think there's a disconnect. Some people that don't have access could be at a disadvantage.
So you're saying, so possibly for like people who may want to get into like, the deeper, like say, for example, someone who wants to get into filmmaking, but they just don't have access to the internet or the certain things that they need to,
Right.
yeah, nowadays, man, it's almost close to impossible if you don't have access to internet, because you can't in that case, you can't,
That's true.
get your information out to people. They can't see it, at that point, it's just a hobby,
I
you
knew
know?
somebody that didn't have an email, and I don't like
Oh,
emails as much. I don't really. It's like I don't like talking on the phone anymore, and I know that's wrong. Sometimes I do, but I'm as guilty as the next person. Sometimes I'll just send a text.
hmm
Instead of calling the person. Sometimes it's more of an inconvenience to talk to somebody. I know that's weird. But
2020.
yeah, we're so connected in this entire world now, but we're more than
hmm
likely going to talk to a stranger than we would somebody in our house. Everybody's on their own
Exactly.
device, or you may have to text, okay, it's time for dinner, or, or hey, we got to shoot here, this and that. I don't know. I think it's finding the right work-life kind of balance when
Yeah,
technology is
definitely.
involved. And I don't see technology becoming less. I see it becoming more.
Nah, it's only going to become more because it just keeps getting better and better every day. We don't, I mean, we always complain about, how technology is, taking over, but we also don't want to give it up. It's like,
And yeah, there's different generations that came up. You have boomers, you have millennials, you have um Gen Xers, Gen Z, millennials, whatever. I don't know all the categories of what people are supposed to be when they're born. uh but this generation coming up grew up on the internet. They grew up on Instagram, they grew up on Facebook, they grew up on Snapchat, and that is like their own language. And for someone that didn't grow up on it or was on the edge of it, when you say, oh, your kid's too much into this, I understand when something becomes an addiction and it takes over
mhm,
life and you can't function without it, and that's the double-edged sword of technology. Technology isn't in itself isn't inherently bad. It's how we use it or misuse it.
exactly.
But there is, I think, being like internet savvy is almost the equivalent of at least having a high school diploma, or having a bachelor of science is the equivalent of what would have been graduating from high school. It's like the level of
hmm
technology has come up there, and there are other countries that are ahead of us in certain areas, aspects of that.
hmm
And I wonder if it's not, I don't think the technology itself is bad. I feel like that if you have, you know, taking someone who is in technology now, that grew up in it, I guess that's Gen Z. That's the latest generations. I'm sure somebody will tell me what generation it is coming up now, but um, that's how they speak. That's part of their language. It's part of who they are. People speak, through text more. People don't email as much unless, it's business
hmm
situations or such. People don't make as many phone calls. It's almost rude at this point to call somebody to
To
talk
call
to them.
someone, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they're like,
so
why did you
unfortunate,
call
man.
me?
That's
You
the
could have
truth.
texted me, or send me an email, and but I think it's wrong to discount the latest generations, because they're going to adapt to this technology, and this is technology that is going to only advance. I mean, and their kids, they're going to have a harder time, adjusting to what the technology will be like when their kids, get old enough and they go through
hmm
that process. So I think it's like a technological evolution, but we don't have to. I think maybe we need to stop hating on the newer generations and saying, oh well,
Start getting
all they
help
do
from them.
is they're on their phone all the time. Well,
hmm
they need to be. That's how we
Yeah,
communicate.
and
And
that's why I'm thankful for. Well, I was about to say something really crazy. I was going to say that's why I'm thankful for the virus, but I'm not thankful for the virus, by the way.
I know what.
But
Yeah.
the thing is, the whole virtual thing has forced, you know, those older generations who aren't as tech savvy, it has kind of forced them to be tech savvy now. So, you know, it's just
And
crazy
on
how
the
the
flip
world has.
side, I look at 2020 as the reset button. Somebody hit the reset button, which we probably should hit it again, because I don't think it took. I think there's something wrong with this program they're running. 2020 has got many. It's a version of Windows that isn't working. I don't know. Fatal errors. It's like Photoshop, or not Photoshop.
Yeah.
You know, it's crashing. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm torn, because I'm all for that, but I feel like that 2020 is a chance also for people, and for some people it has been a chance to disconnect from the negativity of it all. You know, of the social media can get very ugly. People cancel people. People are trolling people. People are just angry about politics. They're angry about this. They're upset, and some people have good reasons for why they're, you know, upset about things, and, you know, they're allowed, of course, everybody's allowed to have their opinion. But the thing is, you know, there's two sides of it. You know, there's you can totally take technology out of your life, and there are people that are doing that. But then I don't think you can, though. I think going forward, you know, our phone is, we're cyborgs, you know. Like this phone right here is not too far from me, you know, it's right there. And
Exactly.
I can't, my life kind of goes through that. That tells me what to do, where to be. I would never remember a phone number. I don't know phone numbers anymore. I used to know them. You know, I don't remember a lot of, you know,
Now it's like a math problem.
yeah, it's a math problem. Like, X. No, it's not X. There's an area code in there somewhere. I don't know. And you know, I think we're so connected now. We meet so many people that we would never remember their phone numbers anyway. You know, it's like, here, just put it in there, give me a card, whatever, you know, you know, or electronic this or whatever. But I'm always fascinated by technology and where it's going, and I don't know how we're going to communicate. We're on Mars once we've ruined this place, but
Oh man, I'm excited to see.
yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah.
So let's see. I got 10,000 questions. I'm looking through my notes here, because what are some things and I ask this sometimes on the show, thinking of the Savannah film industry specifically.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that you feel we are doing right? And what are some things maybe we can do better?
So I mean, in Savannah, you know, when you're working in it, you start to notice a lot of different things. So for example, like the industry here, a lot of the, you know, bigger production companies that come here to work, they kind of just come, they use us, and they leave. So I think, you know, in Savannah, what we need to do is kind of, you know, we need a better system for getting all of the filmmakers and stuff together, kind of like what you're doing, you know, with Savannah on film. And you know, that's what I'm thankful for, you know, your show, because, you know, we see, you know, multiple different people. You know, I remember you had Jaleesa on your shirt, you on your show
Oh,
one day.
Jaleesa Gilbert. Oh my gosh, she's been on.
Yeah,
She's fantastic.
yeah, exactly.
She's awesome, and
Mm-hmm.
she's living the dream of what she's doing. She is giving back. She's mentoring. She's a teacher,
Exactly. Yeah,
and
she's awesome, man. I know her.
I got to go to I forgot the name of the school. That's terrible. I can't remember, but I got to go there and see, along with John Grace, who
Mm-hmm.
is instructor at Georgia Film Academy, Savannah Tech here. A great guy, and got to go there and see some of that in action, and it's so great. You know, I love seeing all these creatives and how they're doing, and giving back by, you know, that mentorship and just passing it on to the next generation is an awesome thing. Because if one person has all the knowledge and they have that knowledge in their head, but it never goes anywhere but their head, it's
Worthless.
Yeah, it's worthless.
Exactly.
It's good for them, but we need to train the next generation. We need the next generation of Spielberg.
Exactly.
We need, you know, I'm trying to think of directors. You know, we need the next Scorsese, whoever. I don't know. You know, whoever we you know, and I love the fact that women are getting more prominent roles in films. It's kind of
Definitely. Yeah.
it's we're working towards that, and we're making progress, you know. I want to see more people of color, more black, brown, different colors of people in
Hmm.
higher positions running studios. What Tyler Perry is doing. I may not like his films per se. I'm not a big Medea fan. I don't think it's Oscar quality, but
Yeah.
I think Tyler Perry somewhere down the line, mark my words, is going to surprise us with some kind of Academy Award film. I think it's coming. I really
Yeah.
do down the road. But the fact that he's built those sound stages, um, and he's giving back to the community and he's helping out. We need that on a local level. And I know we have people behind the scenes. There's anonymous people that help out and they help this project. But one of the focuses of Savannah on film is to build the Savannah on film part of it. The focus on not just the big productions that come here, because I know a lot of them that have come here, and 90% of what they they bring millions of hundreds of millions of dollars here. Yes, I'm not denying that, not unthankful at all for that, but 90% of the receipts are going back for grip and electric, and everything else are going back to LA. you know they
Hmm.
set up shop here, they get the tax incentives, they get all of our people working on their sets who have to start out somewhere. You're not going to just go straight to cinematographer or whatever. And I understand that, on a big production, a lot of people are making their way up the chain, and that's how it's done. But I want to see more of an explosive growth and I've seen it in just the few years I've done this show. I've seen more of an explosive growth of talent from Savannah, from the Savannah area. And I want to keep putting that spotlight out there for people that I want to see everybody achieve, and that's the thing in the industry, is that, it's not just these wonderful, great, big productions that come in. Like you said, it's, we need a grip and electric. We need a sound stage here,
Mm,
that would be one
exactly.
sound stage. We don't need many. Just give us one.
Bunch of them, just one. Yeah.
Yeah, one would
Seriously.
be great. And everybody, there's different people I have on the show. Well, there are some things going on, and there's some. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, and never happens. And then, of course, 2020 came and said, "Hold my beer," and just wrecked everything. And but do you think coming out of 2020? I think maybe we touched on this a little bit, but do you think that I was already seeing a trend before it in what in the production dollars that are put in the films, and then some of them that flopped massively because they didn't make. This is pre-pandemic, but do you think that we're moving more towards lower budget films? Like, I think what Blumhouse is doing with like their films are fantastic. They make them in a very low production cost, and they can make
Mm,
40-50 million on an open weekend, and they've paid for themselves already easily, and I think that's more the future of filmmaking. I think it's getting smaller. I think the bigger studios are figuring out they need to get a little bit smaller, and with technology they can afford to actually do that. There's some people say they're getting more into practical effects, and even with the digital effects they can do stuff maybe, and maybe cut the cost, because I feel like coming out of 2020, I feel, in all honesty, right now looks like a complete write-off financially for
exactly.
the theater system.
Hmm.
I'm worried about AMC, we're worried about all that, and I'm not being a naysayer, but it's hard during a pandemic to make a film.
Of
And
course. Yeah.
do you think coming out of this that we're going to be smarter, or more budget conscious about filmmaking?
Definitely. I think so. Especially like from how Red Eye runs our organization. Everything is small. Everything is on a super micro budget. So it's like, if you can still tell a good story, and it still be of high quality, consistent with bigger budget films. It'll be a lot more focusing on, the actual story, which is the most important part anyway, as opposed to, running up that budget, things of that nature. So, hopefully, filmmaking gets back to, it becomes more realistic,
I think I feel I agree with you. I think we're kind of heading that way. I feel like, like the big studios are starting to notice that, hey, we can do this a lot cheaper. And, M. Night Shyamalan, he started doing that, because his career was kind of not going so well. And then boom, he's coming back with lower budgets. And people are learning that, with the technology moving forward, sometimes you don't need everybody there. You can almost, it's been done where you can make a film on your phone if you wanted to. It's not probably Scorsese quality or whatever, but it can be done. And I'm not saying we eliminate, departments or background actors. I want everybody to have a fair shot at working. But I feel like we're moving towards lower budget, and it's always about the bottom line. You follow the money in film. You follow the money. If the incentives are there, the productions will be there. No matter what the politics are, no matter what happens, follow the money. And if you can make it cheaper in this state, in this city for 30-60% cheaper than you can make it a county over, then guess what? You're gonna base your film here. You're gonna do that,
Exactly.
And so gosh, we've covered a lot. Is there anything you wanted to talk about we haven't touched on?
We touched on a lot, man. Like I said,
we talked about a lot.
we have talked about a lot, and it's been great. But but yeah, like I said, with the show, we pulled a bunch of great information from the show. Gotten a bunch of good resources, and sometimes we'll even go back and play to see, because recently you did something with the lady, the costume, the lady who's really
Judith Moore. Yeah, last week.
Yes.
She's a wealth of knowledge.
Exactly.
And her husband, Judith Moore, Alan Moore, they were on last week, and fascinating interview. I probably could still be talking to them. He had wonderful stories. He's more old Hollywood, and Judith is she's so pioneering, especially in the field for women, and with Swift, Savannah, Women in Film and Television, and to see that, to see someone that's giving back, who's they're still trailblazing, and that's awesome. And there needs to be more of that. And Savannah is good for a community. We do, it seems like the film community seems pretty tight. There are circles of people that you work with, and that's fine, but the cool thing is when those circles intertwine with each other, and then you work with somebody who has worked with somebody else, and then you make some really interesting things. And that's why I like to say there's nobody that's ever been on this show that's not fascinating in some way, shape, or fashion, and you're definitely one of those professionals. And I'm glad to finally get you on the show. And it's been a long time to get you, but things seem to line up just right. So I want to thank everybody who I'm thanking in advance when we're recording this versus when you're watching the live video. Thank you everybody who's participated in the chat here on Savannah Film on YouTube. Thank you for everybody who's listened on WRUU.org and who have listened at 107.5 FM in Savannah, WRUU. And so I don't know what to say. I never know how to end it. I always want to just keep talking, but I think we're going to put it in. But thank you everybody for joining us here on Savannah on Film. And my guest was Kewaan Drayton, the CEO of Red Eye Film Productions. And thank you once again for being here, and keep doing the good work. We'll be watching. So I'm just going to roll out here with our outro here for the show, and I hope everybody's enjoyed this and gained a wealth of knowledge. I know I have. So it's been fascinating. Thank you, Kewaan.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Thank you. You have been listening to another episode of Savannah on Film, where we give a voice to the Savannah film community. Please like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter. This program was originally broadcast on 107.5 FM in Savannah, Georgia, and worldwide on www.wruu.org. Join us next time for more intriguing insights into the vibrant Savannah film community here at Savannah on Film. All right, bye everybody.